Hey everyone, Mr. DVB here. I'm being joined once again by...
Parker, hello.
AKA Condor Crap.
Condor Crap, home of Daddy Cool and other crap.
Yeah, lots of crap. Today we're going to be discussing the Oscars, the mega crap.
We're already getting into it here.
We're going to be discussing majority of the categories, not every single one. We're kind of skipping over, documentaries and shorts and stuff like that, but we're discussing 18 categories here today. We're going to start off by discussing our thoughts on the Best Picture nominees, and then later we're going to discuss snubs, and then we're going to go over every single category and what we think is going to win. So it's going to be a pretty long podcast. My prediction is we're going to be clocking in over an hour. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, 18 categories, 7 movies, and then whatever else you got. It's going to be a long one.
8 Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, 8. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Buckle in.
Buckle in, buckaroos. This episode is sponsored by A&W, Hooters, Dr. Pepper, and Coke. Just kidding, we don't have sponsors. Alright, let's jump into this. So, Best Picture. We're going to discuss each of these movies, giving our thoughts, our ratings, and whatnot. Not necessarily what we think is going to win, but we can say what we want to win, I guess. So, we're going to start off with just the first one on the list, which is The Father. So this is the one that you watched most recently.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen The Father and Judas both this morning, so there's a bit of a recency bias there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get by.
Those are the two most recent ones for you. Father is also the most recent for me. I watched this, I think the second it dropped on digital, which was a few weeks ago, so it's fairly new for me as well. I think it was March 26th or something, so about a month or so. But yeah. We'll start off with our thoughts on that. Okay, so The Father, it's about Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
There will be spoilers in this video, by the way, guys. It's about Anthony Hopkins who has dementia, and he forgets things.
Mm-hmm. He wants to live in his flat.
He wants to live in his flat, but...
He can't. And he's always looking for his watch. Can never find his watch.
It's a more interesting version of one of Pulp Fiction's subplots. Trying to find the watch.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so... The Father, this actually might be a sequel to the Pulp Fiction. It's actually Bruce Willis's character, older.
Oh, yeah?
Dementia, and he's still trying to find his fucking watch.
He aged pretty poorly.
So, The Father is directed by, I don't know who it's directed by.
I read the title card, but I don't remember.
Yeah, some guy who did a good job.
Yes,
I really liked this movie. I thought it was great. You have, phenomenal performance from an old Anthony Hopkins.
Yes,
playing his future self.
Yes.
In the meantime, he's just going to be bobbing his head to more death metal. But yeah, no, he was phenomenal in this movie. The performance with him was great. Performance from everybody in this movie was great. You have, what's her name?
Olivia Colman.
Olivia Colman's in this, playing his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She was excellent, and there's also some other characters who play...
Yeah,
there's some other actors who play the same characters, but you find out later on who they actually are.
Care home workers, all them.
Who he mixes up for his daughter and stuff, because again, this is all dementia and stuff. And yeah, it's a pretty, sad movie, especially towards the end, the last scene with him.
Yeah, the last scene is really crushing.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, but, yeah, I mean... For those reasons, I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, I'll put it that way. I think it's just too depressing of a movie.
Too sad.
After a depressing year. So
the Academy's going for something light?
Yeah, well, something more uplifting.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not going to say what movie that is yet.
Yeah, can't get ahead of yourself here.
You can't. But, yeah, no, so overall, really great. My personal rating would be, I think, an 8 out of 10 for this one. What would yours be?
Well, I did just watch it an hour ago.
Fair.
And I think it is excellent. I don't know. I'd probably have it a 9 or 10, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes in time.
I've seen a lot of people have it as high as a 10, so it makes sense. Yeah, the only thing for me is I don't think it's necessarily going to be the most rewatchable.
Yeah, I don't think it's movies. Really rewatchable, but I think they executed the premise perfectly. They couldn't do anything more with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's also it's a fairly short movie too. It's only an hour and 28 once you remove credits.
Yeah,
very, very short.
That's nice. You don't have to go through the night. 2 hours is the standard, but I'm not always down for 2 hours.
No, yeah. Well, we watched a 3 hour and 15 last night.
Yes,
but
we'll make an exception for Schindler's.
Yeah, but yeah. So there we go. That was our thoughts on The Father.
Everything will be all right. I promise you. There's something funny going on.
Then we're going to talk about Judas and the Black Messiah. So would you like to explain the story for Judas and the Black Messiah?
Okay, so Judas is Wild Bill, something like that, and he is working with the FBI. He's an informant for the FBI, and he gets in with the Black Panther Party in the 1960s, which is being led by Fred Hampton, and a grumpy old Martin Sheen wants to take out Fred Hampton because he's too much of a revolutionary, so yeah, they get Bill in there to try and take care of him.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly the premise.
Yeah, lots of other whatever happened with the Panthers in that era.
Yeah, lots of stuff. But I know this movie I thought was as well great.
Mm-hmm.
This one I was intrigued by because I really didn't know too much about this group, and so kind of seeing like a lot of the good things they did, I thought was quite interesting because I didn't really know too much about this group honestly, so I thought it was pretty interesting. I liked just the look of the movie. I thought was pretty good honestly. Like I think it kind of caught me right away in like the opening scene. If I recall, the opening scene was kind of in the bar.
Yeah, it's in the bar. It's got that great score.
Yeah, and he gets into the car.
Yeah.
Like I really liked just the look of the film. It's nominated for cinematography, and I don't particularly think it's going to win, but I do think it definitely looks great. But yeah, I think definitely the highlight of this performance was the performance.
The highlight of the performance?
The highlight, is that what I said?
Yeah.
No, the highlight of this movie is the performance.
Mm-hmm.
From, I believe it's Daniel Kaluuya is his name, as
yeah, he is excellent.
As Fred Hampton. Yeah, he was great. He did such a great job in this movie. And yeah, so performance, again, great. The only thing for this movie for me was I maybe found it a little bit long at times from when I watched it. I did watch it over 2 separate days, so maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. The movie did a very good job at building up tension and just the intensity of situations. Like there was one sequence where there's a few people who are running away at nighttime in the dark, and there's a bunch of police officers with flashlights, and that was a very tense scene, I thought. And a lot of stuff goes down. So yeah, really good movie in my opinion. My personal rating for this one would be, I think, an 8 as well. That's kind of where I'm standing on it. How about yourself, Parker? Your thoughts, your rating?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Everything about it. I probably had some notes written down, but whatever. I'd probably give it a 9, which is going to be a common theme, because I usually rate stuff higher than you, I think.
Possibly.
But yeah, I think it's a 9. It's really great. They do... I assume it's all factual. It seems like it's really... Yeah, really legit.
I imagine there's not too much that's kind of been taken a bit more in creative freedom ways.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah.
Judas, good movie.
Very good.
Anywhere there's people, there's power.
Judas and the Black Messiah. Rated R.
All right, next up we have Mank.
Mank.
I'd say probably the least favorite by most people.
Yeah, this is
from what I've seen,
controversial one.
Well, I don't know about controversial. I'd say more so divisive, is what I would say.
Divisive, controversial.
Well, okay, because I think controversial is more so where it's like, it's like, oh, that's definitely like there's, some people like it offends them kind of thing. Whereas divisive to me is more so just like people are split on it, and I think that's kind of the perfect way to describe this movie. Some people love it, cough cough Parker.
Yeah.
And some people don't like it. I do like it, so I'm not one of those don't like it people.
NTD.
And okay, our friend Noah, he did not like this movie. He gave it a 5. He thought it was what words did he use to describe it?
Probably boring. I don't recall other
slog,
ones. Yeah.
Uninteresting. Meanwhile, WandaVision, 9 out of 10.
NTD, you better watch out with these ratings.
Yeah, we're gonna go after you for them. But yeah, this movie was I liked it. I gotta be honest. I think across from a technical standpoint, I think this is like flawless. I think the sound design, by making it sound like an old 30s movie, I think the black and white little things they did, like in the top right corner there'd be this little like film thing that would pop
circle,
up. When you're supposed to switch over the reel, like they did all those little things like that, and the production design, like I think from a technical standpoint this movie is perfect. Where it kind of was like, for me was with the story, because going into this movie, what I kind of heard was like, oh, it's about, the big dispute between the director and
yeah, that's kind of I've heard that being advertised too, and
and then it's like a 2-minute scene at the end of the movie.
I think that's even like the description on Netflix. It's like the the battle between
screenwriter Herman Mankiewicz and director
Yeah.
Orson Welles, and it's like a 2-minute sequence at the end of the film. The rest of it's really just like Mank kind of getting into like money troubles and the political stuff of that era.
yeah, like showing what is. Have you seen Citizen Kane? Or...
I actually haven't watched this.
Okay, well, I think it's necessary viewing. Like, it should be a companion piece because it's like showing his inspiration for why he's writing the Citizen Kane script.
Yeah,
and like you're seeing all the characters like
how they
Amanda
relate to the
Seyfried's a
people.
character, and William Randolph Hearst, he's also like in Kane.
Well, then, yeah, I should watch it then.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's kind of weird that I haven't, honestly, but no, yeah, well, cause I know in the movie they were mentioning like at one point the guy's like, "Do you think I'm stupid? Like I know who you're basing that character on," kind of thing. Like they kind of there's some things like that in the movie, but no, yeah, like I really liked it. I thought Gary Oldman was great as Herman Mankiewicz, although he's way older than Herman Mankiewicz was back then.
Oh,
like
sure,
Herman Mankiewicz
yeah.
was like 40 or something when he wrote the script, and Gary Oldman's like 3 feet under already. So it was like, he's like 65 or something. I was like, ah.
Yeah, he's not hiding it either. I think they said they didn't want to do any prosthetics or stuff. So
yeah,
he's just Gary Oldman.
He's just Gary Oldman. I mean, Gary Oldman's one of my favorite actors, so I'm cool with it. But it's just like not the most accurate
Yeah, well, I've
age depiction of.
only ever seen like one picture of Mankiewicz, so I couldn't really.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I'm not some history buff when it comes to Herman Mankiewicz as a person, so...
Maybe there's someone out there that's just
They're
super
just like,
pissed off
yo.
that Gary Oldman's Herman Mankiewicz.
Like, it should have been this actor because he's the right age, the right look.
Exactly.
But yeah. So, Mank, overall, I thought the writing was really good. Like, I always thought the dialogue was well crafted. There's a lot of... I love some of the drunkenness of Herman Mankiewicz. Like, I really like the visuals in one scene where it's like you get like the clock ticking and like these little glasses being poured and it's just like him like this.
Yeah, I think that was like the election night
Yeah,
thing.
the election night scene.
That's great.
And his whole rant in the at the dinner table, like when he's walking around, he's like,
Totally. There's so many memorable scenes, like like almost every scene.
He's definitely got some. Well, and there was moments I really liked. I remember like there's a part because I watched this a while ago when it came out. I remember at one point there's a guy who is like attempting suicide, and Mank takes all the bullets away, and then he comes back and the guy like he had a full box of them, and you hear the gunshot. I was like, there's some good elements in there. So Mank, I'm gonna rate Mank an 8. This is gonna be a common theme tonight, just like Parker's is gonna be with 9s. So Parker, what would you rate Mank?
Okay, well it's the one I'm probably most looking forward to rewatching. I really love old Hollywood, so like I knew a lot of the names, and it was kind of cool seeing these people on the screen. That being said, the plotting, like the writing,
premise was a little bit.
It like as much as I'd love to give it like a 9 or 10, I do feel it's an 8 because just it sort of turns into like the politics. Like a lot of it's just based on this election and the politics.
Yeah. Between.
I can't remember, but these two
guys. 2 parties. One of them was played by Bill Nye.
Oh yeah, Bill Nye for that one shot.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the thing for me was I kind of went into this movie like I said, expecting a film about the dispute, and it's really a character study. About Herman Mankiewicz, which I should have also expected considering the movie's called Mank, but I feel like it was maybe a slightly advertised.
Yeah, well, it's always great. Like. Mank is always entertaining, no matter where you are in the movie. Like, you're always with him. I think pretty much every scene he's there. I don't know if there's any scenes where he isn't there. We're almost always with him, and he's always got some witty lines and lots of emotional scenes. He's great. Yeah, just throughout the whole thing.
I don't know. I really like the movie. I think it's honestly slightly underrated.
I do think it's underrated. It got completely bashed online for if you don't.
If you're not into old Hollywood stuff, it's kind of
then I can totally understand.
But I found a lot of it intriguing. It's just again, I do feel like it was slightly advertised, and so because of that, my expectations for what I thought were going to be weren't quite met. But I still think, from a technical level, all the aspects I thought were done.
Oh, totally,
just flawlessly.
So much attention to detail.
Yeah, so it was executed extremely well, and I could definitely see it taking home a lot of those technical categories. Which, when we discuss our predictions later on, you might see that there.
Preview.
Outside his own blonde Betty Boop, who are always his favourite.
Organ grinder's monkey. Preview.
All right, next up is Minari.
Minari.
I will describe this one, I guess. So this is about a, I believe, South Korean family who moves to the United States in, I think, the 80s, and they go to, what was the state that they moved it to?
I don't know, some down south.
Yeah, some southern, farm state, prairie state, because they want to become farmers. They no longer want to be chicken...
Oh, like chicken sex
identifiers. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know that was a legitimate job, honestly.
Yeah,
but yeah, they no longer want to do that. He wants to start a farm. The mother is kind of wishy-washy about the place they're living in because it's basically like an RV kind. Well, not RV.
Oh, yeah, it's on wheels though. It's like a mobile home.
Yeah, and so this is one of my favorite out of the nominees. To be completely honest, I think this movie was great. I thought the performances were all good and stuff, but it's just a nice some bad stuff goes on in the movie, but for the most part, I think it was a pretty. I don't know if I would say feel good. Because it's not quite feel good, but it's just
feel good.
It's a more like peaceful film than some of the other nominees this year.
Some nice out at the farm and
in the house
playing.
It's just nice, interesting stuff. The movie has some good humor in there. Like the little kid's very funny. The grandma is hilarious.
Once grandma comes in, the movie just
the movie hits its peak. It's like
and every scene with her.
But there were so many things I thought were hilarious. Like the when at the church and she's like, his ding dong's broken.
Oh
things like that. I was just like, oh, this is just.
I also love this running Mountain Dew gag.
The Mountain Dew
where they thought it was water from the mountains. It's so good.
And the grandma's like, oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's great. Like the humor and stuff is really well done. And again, it's not. I don't know if I would completely describe it as a feel good movie because it's not. Like some things do happen that kind of suck for the family, but it's
hopeful.
Yeah, because I don't know how to best describe how I feel about it. It's just when it's just them you're just living their life, planting these things, planting different plants,
That in the community's not like some exaggerated down south we hate the immigrants. They're all friendly, these people.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's some the kids are a little bit
the kids they're pretty ignorant, but
but besides that, I mean I don't know. It's just I liked it. I don't know what to say. I just thought it was a nice enjoyable film.
Yeah, nice music the whole time. I can't really remember the score that much, but I
think it
works.
was just accompanying piano music in the background.
Probably.
That is going to be nominated. Well, it is nominated.
They love piano.
They love piano. Oh, it's so beautiful. But yeah, I think this the movie. It's nominated for a few things. Like we talked about score already. It's nominated for Best Picture, as we're talking about. Director. And it's nominated for lead actor and supporting actress. So, it's definitely getting nominated for quite a bit of things. I think it will win some, but I'll discuss that later. And, overall, really liked this movie. I would give it a 9, personally. So this is a bit higher for me, personally. What about yourself?
I have it at a 9, too. I think it is excellent. It's a nice light watch, and... I don't know. We've pretty much covered it.
Yeah, it's just a nice, fun film. All right, and what else I was going to mention really quickly. I don't remember the actor's name. I've seen him in quite a bit of things, but I really like the really religious neighbor that they have.
Oh, yes.
I've seen him in some few things, like Halloween 2018.
I stopped the movie to look him up because I'm like, that's back when he still had his bubble glasses on.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? And that guy's in a lot of stuff, but I can't name any of it.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He was also in Armageddon, directed by...
Yeah, I've seen Armageddon. Okay, well...
That's a Best Picture winner, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. I won't say anything more.
Oh, pretty boy, pretty boy.
I'm not pretty. I'm good looking.
All right, next up, Nomadland.
Okay.
This one's directed by Chloe Zhao, and I'll let you describe the story.
Okay, Nomadland. Watched this a couple weeks ago, so it might be fuzzy, but Frances McDormand?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a modern-day nomad. Her husband has died, and she is living on the road in an RV and...
Well, not even an RV, just a truck.
Yeah.
A van. So
a van. And it sort of just shows the people she meets, the community she goes to, and lots of nice characters she meets along the way. It's really out of all the films, this is the one that feels like the most natural, like true to life.
Yeah.
The other ones all feel like, going through this list, they all feel very Hollywood, specifically like Trial Chicago 7.
Mank.
Mank. But those all feel very Hollywood. This one feels more.
This and Minari, I think, are the
true.
two most like true feeling. I'd say. And this one, Nomadland, one of the great aspects about this movie is that all these people she meets along the way are real people.
Yeah,
like
I saw that in the credits, and I was
yeah,
like, oh, this...
they're the ones who actually like lived these situations. So that's why like there's some scenes where they're sitting around the campfire talking about kind of how they got in their current situations. One lady will be talking about, I had a brother who died of cancer. I don't know if that's a specific line. Actually, I'm just making it up. But it's like I was seeing these things. And it just immediately I was like, oh, this is quite sad because these are real people telling their real stories. But they didn't feel like real people acting, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, this is just atrocious acting, like because it was just people being themselves. And I thought it was really nice because of that. And it was a movie really about like kind of despite like, depressing things going on, coming together. Hence why I think it's going to win Best Picture. But
Academy loves coming together.
Well, yeah, especially after a dark year. That's kind of like what I was leading towards was...
Gotcha.
Well, I don't think Father's going to win, so I kind of already spoiled what I think's going to win Best Picture, but...
Oh, man. We still got 18 categories to go here.
Well, I'll discuss that again later. Maybe I'll go more in depth with my thoughts.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
yeah, I think it was great. I thought the performances were great across the board. It was a movie that felt very, like you said, very natural, and it was just... kind of despite being emotional, a very beautiful film in my opinion. What would you say, Parker Smith?
Yes, this is one of my favorites for sure. This is a great watch. It's right up there on the ones I want to rewatch sooner. And like, I just remember some characters like Linda May is one of those characters. The old lady, I don't remember what her name is. And then there's the guy she meets. I think his name's Doug or something. But yeah,
I think Doug was the only one that like was an actual actor because I've seen him in other things like Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Oh, really?
He's in the Godzilla movies.
No. Well, no offense to Doug, but King of Monsters, you need a better agent if you're...
Well, Doug was... which one was he? Was he the one... He didn't have the white beard, right?
Oh,
Doug was the guy that liked her?
Doug's the guy that liked her.
Yes, he's in a...
Okay, he did seem like more like an actor because he has a lot of... like he's probably the secondary main character, I'd say. Yeah. But all these characters are great. That's what I was getting to. Like, yeah, all these people she meets... They come, they go, but
they stay with her in her heart.
How nice.
Yeah.
How
so,
sweet.
Personal rating, I'm going to give this one... I don't do half ratings. If I were, this is honestly verging on a 9.5 for me. But I'm going to go with a 9 just to give us, one solid rating. I don't like doing half ratings. But yeah, 9 for me.
I'm in agreement. It's a 9.
Have you had any... Mank's your only non-9 so far.
But what have we done, really?
Which is funny, because isn't Mank like your personal favorite, almost?
Mank's one of my personal favorites, but I can agree it has flaws.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what's good about Parker, right? Like, he might... Despite loving something, he can admit its flaws.
Is this a WandaVision comment here?
No. All right.
And I can be certain in my heart I'll see you again.
Next up,
okay.
Promising
this is
Young
where the
Woman.
ratings start to...
All right, so Promising Young Woman. I guess I'll describe the plot for this one.
Go for it.
So Promising Young Woman follows a not-so-promising young woman who embarks on a journey to tell rapists no. That's essentially how I would describe this movie. Basically, she plays this woman whose good friend was sexually assaulted and killed herself. I believe it's like implied. Yeah, I think
that's implied. She's
heavily implied.
She's missing or whatever.
And so yeah, and this girl kind of fueled by that, like goes on and tries to get herself in these situations where she is kind of like, how would you describe it? She makes herself look drunk and stuff at like parties and whatnot, so that guys will try to take advantage of her. And then
once they do, she pops up and she tells them.
Nope. I was fully expecting this to be like kind of a movie of just like her just killing a bunch of rapists, and I was like, well,
I was totally expecting that too.
Well, it would be more cheesy. I think it would just be more in line with what this movie kind of seemed like it was, like, because this movie has like this super obnoxious like neon-y, like, look at our cool colors and our title sequence with our
it's a lot of flash, not a lot of substance.
And I was like, okay, so it's just gonna be like some over the top whatever, like I'm fine with that. But no, it's like she just says no and then she leaves, and I'm like, this is so boring. And there's also the opening sequence. I was telling Parker this. It's her, at a bar, and there's some great editing that the Oscars will love. And then she goes home with this guy who's trying to take advantage of her. She says no, and then it cuts to her on the street eating a hot dog, and there's like red on her arm and on her torso, like on her shirt. And I'm like, oh, is that blood or is that ketchup? Like, I thought it was heavily implied that she killed him, and that was like
I was hoping
blood.
for that.
And then it's just like.
And then she stops when a bunch of construction workers look at her. And
Yeah.
She stares them down. They all run away.
Funny story. Lego released some stickers of Lego construction figures years ago, and there's one that's a construction figure waving, and it was like, "Hey, babe," and then Lego had to like remove it from like their shelves because people complained about it.
Oh no.
That's one of the only things this movie did for me, was remind me of
Lego controversies.
Lego controversies. But no, yeah, I mean, I don't think this movie's completely bad. Honestly, like, it's still well made, right? You still have great performances. I thought it was mostly well shot besides some of the obnoxious editing, but like, yeah, there was actually some pretty good shots here. I kind of liked everybody says the pastel color palette. That's the word I hear the most, like the phrase.
They love their pastels.
It does look nice, whatever. I liked the score sometimes. Like, you'll hear like that's that one. Was it a Katy Perry song?
Oh, the toxic.
They use one of like some.
I think it's Britney Spears.
Or Britney Spears, yeah. They use like some song, and then it's like they do it with like some kind of like eerie twist to it. I was like, I kind of like this.
Yeah, when she's like walking into the house, it really works.
Yeah. What did you think of Promising Young Woman?
Well, I still enjoyed it. I mean,
yeah,
they're Best Picture for a reason, but it's definitely the weakest out of them as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if this was a regular year, it would not even be close to making this list.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But that being said, it was still
entertaining,
somewhat enjoyable. Yeah.
I understand that.
Performances were all, they did the job. I don't think I was going like, now that's a good performance. But
there were some that I didn't like. Like, there's one guy who tries taking advantage of her in like a hotel room or something, and he's like kissing her face.
Is that McLovin?
Nose. Yeah,
yeah.
I was like,
McLovin scene, like, that was kind of.
I was like, this is just cringy.
Dragged out, that one.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't give my rating yet because I have a couple things I want to discuss about this film.
Oh, okay.
The ending is like the biggest what the fuck ending I think I've seen in a while. It's the last 20 minutes are probably the most criticized aspect of this film.
Yeah, it kind of goes off the rails completely.
She gets killed randomly, and then they like burn her corpse, and then she like sets up like these like text messages so that they send out a very specific time, which just happens to be the second the cops arrive at like this at the wedding. It's like super on the nose. Honestly, this movie felt to me like a Blumhouse horror film that was just better made. That's kind of how I felt about it. It felt like a film that Blumhouse would have like produced, and then it's just like, oh yeah, but we got some better directors behind it, or like some like that's honestly what I felt about the movie. I thought it was like a really dumb movie that was just well made. Yeah, is how I would describe it.
Well, when you say on the nose, that's like that's the whole thing. It's just
it's more than on the nose. It's
on
like,
the nose. It's like it's in the nose.
It's in the nose. It's in every orifice. It's like it's very
Yeah, that
obvious.
last 20 minutes, I guess they're trying to do, like, well, if we kill her, then our message has more meaning. Like, they're trying to do an Easy Rider thing, but it does not work at all. It's just, the whole end is convoluted.
Yeah. And, so for me, like, which wasn't really my kind of movie, but to each his own. So for me, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's like, if I was doing half ratings, this would probably be about a 6.5, but this is closer to a 6 for me than a 7, personally speaking. Like, I do think just entertainment wise, it's probably like closer to a 7. If I was Nadola, I'd be like 7.
The 3 categories.
That's it, yeah. So, but or maybe 6 for entertainment value and 7 for quality of film, something like that. Giving a 6.5, but I'm just gonna go with a 6. What about you, Parker?
So I'm pretty split between a 6 or a 7. I don't think it should be any lower. I don't think it should be any higher than that. It's competently made, it's pretty entertaining, but it is something I will never rewatch. I can think of a million better things to watch. I'll just 6 or 7, whatever.
6 or 7, yeah, in that range.
I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Lately, I've been feeling like I might want to get back into it.
Alright, then we have Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal.
On to you, Parker.
Okay, so a heavy metal drummer who is in a
two-person band?
Hard rock band with his girlfriend. They are also in a van, if I'm not mistaken.
RV.
RV, okay.
Or trailer,
Almost
whatever.
Nomadland, but they're a step up in the class.
This is Nomadland if things were a little bit different.
Yes. Well, anyway, the drummer starts to lose his hearing, and he doesn't get to it in time, really. By the time he does, it's already lost, and then he goes to play more heavy metal. It just keeps getting worse. So he goes to this home with a bunch of other deaf people. And
Yeah, kind of like a deaf community.
Yeah, and he's not... doesn't love it there at first, but he becomes a part of the community, and he learns to sign and all that. But then he decides to go the medical route and fix his hearing, and then he's no longer welcomed in that community. And it's really hard to watch, because when he gets back to his girlfriend, nothing's the same, and there's this one really hard scene to watch where she's playing the piano.
Oh, yeah.
And the dad's singing, and everyone's like, oh, this is so beautiful, and oh, you have such a beautiful voice, and you go to his perspective, and it just sounds robotic. And
yeah, because basically what they say is like the operation, because he's like, let's say he has like 10% of hearing left. I don't remember the exact number they give.
Yeah, something like that.
If he does this operation, he has 0% hearing left, like of his own, but he has to wear these like hearing device,
magnet sort of.
Yeah, that will like artificially create sound, but it doesn't sound like normal sound. It sounds horrendous. It's like
it's just tricking your brain.
Super robotic, like really scratchy. It doesn't work well, right? And so there's a few sequences where like he'll be talking to a person, and it's like you can tell he's a bit uncomfortable, but he can still kind of make out things. But then as soon as, like you said, as soon as she's playing the piano, that's
when you realize nothing's gonna be the same.
Yeah, and I really liked the ending of this movie. I think this probably has my favorite ending out of any of these films.
He's sitting on the outside
on the bench,
and he takes it off. Right?
He takes it off to just accept his fate, and then he gets hit by a bus. No, just kidding. That does not happen.
That'd be a promising young woman ending.
Yeah, he takes his hearing aids
Kill
off,
her
like,
for no reason.
It's like, oh, okay, I think I can accept it. But yeah, no. So I really liked it. I thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
Great performance. Riz Ahmed was fantastic in this. Riz Ahmed's an actor who normally, like, it's not that I don't like him as an actor, it's just that I don't think he's really been in anything that can actually give him a good showcase. Like, his character in Rogue One was
just, like,
a stuttering annoyance. Yeah, he was the villain in Venom.
What?
He was a terrible, terrible character.
He was oh man.
Yeah.
That was an awful character.
Yeah, he's just not, he's been given kind of, like, roles in the past, and so we're seeing him in a role here where he's actually fully, like, it's a good role. It's not some piece of crap secondary character. So
that's nice.
He was great here. I thought he was I'm very surprised because he's always an actor. I was kind of like, I'm not a big fan of him, and no, he definitely surprised me here. One of my favorite performances of last year. The sound design in this movie was phenomenal.
That's it. All really, it needs that sound design.
Super effective. I also like the way the movie handled sign language, where it's because the main character doesn't know it. They don't always have the text for what's going on, so you kind of are in his shoes, not knowing what they're signing, and I liked that. And then once he does learn sign language, then it'll start to add it in. But I thought that was really well done. It just it was a movie that really brought you into like his own experience, what he was going through. So I really liked it. So this one, I'm gonna give it an 8. It is an 8.5 realistically from Mario, but it's closer to an 8 than it is a 9. But yeah, this one's an 8 for me personally.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd give it an 8. I really liked it overall. Sound design, like you said, great performances. Yeah, but it's not really hitting that level of like Father or Nomadland like these other ones. It still feels like something that wouldn't be in a regular Oscar season.
Yeah, I think it would be nominated for like maybe a few things, but I agree.
Probably be nominated for sound.
Probably wouldn't be nominated for like Best Picture per se. It's hard to say though. Like,
yeah, who knows what would have come out?
Yeah, exactly.
All the fear is gone. That place will never abandon you.
Exactly. All right, then we have the last but not least, least if you're on Letterboxd apparently, Trial of the Chicago 7. So I'll describe the story for this one. So this one takes place in the 70s or 60s?
It's Nom-era, so I think it's 60s.
60s, yeah. So 60s, we follow a group, the Chicago 7, who were all arrested for some riots that occurred, and very unfair how these people were treated for something that really wasn't their fault. These 7 people are the ones that that what do you call it? The police and the law looked at it as like these are the ones that caused the riots to go on.
Yeah, they're like the scapegoats. Like they want to.
Yeah,
they want to
they're the
make an
ones who wanted to
example out
start.
of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of like the big leaders of these separate groups. So you, for example, you have like one character that appeared in this movie was Sacha Baron Cohen's character, who kind of led the more like hippie gang, which he was great in this. Like
yeah, the
him and
yippies.
I don't remember the other guy that was the other actor.
I can't remember his name,
but I liked him even more. Honestly, like they're all great in this. I really liked what's his name? He's in the Fantastic Beasts movies. He played Stephen Hawking.
Eddie Redmayne?
Yes, Eddie Redmayne. I really liked him in this. Mark Rylance as like their lawyer.
Yeah, he was great.
He was great. Like great cast. I loved the judge. The actor that played the judge was great.
And that guy who played Bobby Seale, I can't remember his name. He's in Aquaman too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that guy's great.
Oh yeah, Aquaman. Well.
Aquaman. If you're in that, I mean.
Yeah, you're a surefire star. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this, and he's an actor who I really haven't seen too much of recently, so it was nice to kind of see him. Yeah, okay, I'll be honest. This is like the one that I enjoy the most. This is the one that I enjoyed the most. It's not necessarily my personal favorite, but it's the one I had the most entertainment value from, because Aaron Sorkin is great at writing, and this movie has some excellent writing.
Every line, it's so snappy. People are always talking over each other. Everyone's got to come back. It's great. Excellent.
It's so well written. The dialogue's just phenomenal. So just a really entertaining movie, very well put together. I feel like, again, this is one where I definitely feel like it would not be nominated for as much as it is normally. Personally speaking, like I think maybe it would probably get nominated for like I meant to say screenplay, and that's like it. I don't think it would get nominated for anything else normally, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, out of the nominees, I mean, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was so well put together, and everybody was great in the movie, so well written. So for me, Trial is a 9 out of 10. What about you?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 here. It is also it's the one I started with, because I knew that was like the only one I was really like, okay, I gotta watch Trial. But it wasn't downhill from there. I'm happy to say it was all good from there. But yeah, Trial was great. Great performances. Screenplay.
Yada yada yada.
Same thing. You've heard it 8 times.
All right, it's a great movie. Well, 7 times. Promising Young Woman.
That's right.
All right, so we're at 35 minutes, by the way.
35 minutes.
Interesting. All right, so
we're getting into the categories.
So there you go. That's Best Picture. That's that category. That's our thoughts on each of those movies. We will later discuss what we think's gonna win. I already discussed what I think's gonna win because I kind of spoiled it. But okay, next we're actually gonna talk about snubs very quickly. I don't know if you really made a list. It's more so just like us, because there wasn't too many snubs for me this year where I was like, oh, that should have been nominated for this. There's a couple. Otherwise, it's just gonna be me discussing films that other people considered snubs. So real quick, personal snubs for me. Tenet is going to be the first I'm going to mention here. So Tenet was not nominated for score or cinematography, and those are two things I think the movie definitely should have been nominated for, especially score, because I think everybody can agree that movie was great for a score. Like, Ludwig Göransson did a phenomenal job with that. My personal favorite score of last year, and when you compare it to the other nominees, I think it was way better of a score than Da 5 Bloods, Minari, News of the World, Mank. Soul is really the only other one I could see being a contender. But the other ones, especially Da 5 Bloods and News of the World, I just don't remember their scores. So that one was kind of surprised.
I have no idea what Minari's score was.
Yeah, like piano. And then cinematography for Tenet, a lot of people pointed that out as well. Hoyt van Hoytema, who Nolan's been working with for the last couple of years. He's a great cinematographer. I definitely think it should have been nominated over Trial of the Chicago 7, which just felt like a pretty plainly shot movie. Wide shot of everybody in the courtroom. Yeah, mediums of everybody
Here's
talking.
The jury. Here's the next person talking.
It was a pretty regular shot film. There wasn't anything too special, and so I was kind of like surprised that was nominated. All right, then another quick one. I don't particularly like this movie, but I was kind of surprised that it wasn't nominated for makeup and costume, and that is Birds of Prey. Suicide Squad was nominated and won makeup back in 2017.
Was Birds of Prey this year?
Well, it was 2020, like February, so it was like very early last year. Out of those two, I think costume, it kind of stood out to me the most over makeup. Looking at the costume design nominees, I don't know. I've always been kind of like, I have like kind of a thing where I'm not a huge fan of like historical films always being nominated for for costumes.
But it's not
I've
necessarily
heard-
creative if you're just historically
Well,
accurate.
I've heard that it's very hard to actually design historically accurate costumes, but for me personally, the ones that always stand out to me the most are like, fantasy and all these, like Star Wars or like, things like that, like just where the costumes are very unique and whatnot. So that's that. But yeah, those are those. Okay, now we're gonna talk about what people consider to be snubs. Not ones that I necessarily do, but just ones that have been discussed. The first one, oh yeah, well, first of all, what do you think about Tenet? Like, do you think it should be nominated for those two things?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it a year ago whenever theaters popped open for like a month there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the score, it's been a long time, but cinematography is definitely a snub. I mean, that stands out so much more than Trial. Haven't seen News of the World, but I don't know how that's shot.
Yeah. Like, I'd keep News of the World over Trial.
Yeah.
But I would say Tenet was better than News as well. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which a lot of people consider to be snubbed for the fact that it was not nominated for Best Picture. There's probably people who think it should be nominated for Best Director, but yeah, Best Picture kind of seems to be the common one for this movie. I liked the movie. I thought that the performances were phenomenal, and I'll get to that later. But the film itself was, for me, just a little bit exhausting, to be honest, because a lot of it was just like very high energy dialogue where characters are having like natural conversations, but they're talking super fast and they're very like, energetic, and it was like that for like an hour and 40 minutes, and I was kind of like, okay, I get it. So I don't really like. It was a decent movie. I'd give it like about a 7 or so, 6 or a 7, in that range. But great performances. All right, and now I'm going to talk about a little film called The Five Bloods.
Oh, hey.
So this is a movie that a lot of people wanted to be nominated for multiple things. Best. It was either actor or supporting actor for. I don't remember his name, to be completely honest, but one of the actors.
That guy that did the 10-minute selfie.
Yeah, the guy that did the 10-minute selfie. Where he's talking to the camera. Everybody's gonna get pissed at me for getting his name, but I just don't have it written down. A lot of people think it should have been nominated for, Best Picture, Best Director, all those kind of things. All right, here's my thoughts on this movie. I hated it. I gotta be completely honest. I really don't like this movie.
I have seen quite a bit of it too.
He hasn't watched it completely, but he's watched scenes. Now,
Yes.
I'll preface this by saying, when it comes to Spike Lee's work, I thought BlacKkKlansman was great. That was in my top 3, at least, favorite of the Best Picture nominees of 2019, I think it was. Like, I thought that was a great movie. I really liked that. I just didn't like The Five Bloods. The main reason, I thought it had an interesting premise that was just poorly executed. For me, this movie was 2 hours of these guys walking around, just having these annoying conversations with really, really, like a huge lack of chemistry, in my opinion. I did not feel like these guys were, like, old-time friends. It has atrocious editing that I pointed out to Parker. In the first 3 minutes, we have a sequence where 2 guys hug each other. It switches to another angle where they are hugging each other again.
Yeah, it does the action twice.
It does the action twice.
Day one editing school.
I'm not okay when it comes to Spike Lee. Like I said, I liked BlacKkKlansman because of the premise and the performances. I'm just not the biggest fan of Spike Lee's directing style. He does this thing where he'll mention, real people, and then it cuts to a photo of them on screen with
that's
really generic like Windows
like
Movie
Times
Maker
New Roman
font.
or something.
Yeah, like font in the bottom left, and it's just like.
Hero. One of our blood, somebody like Milton Olive. Yeah, and that man jumped on that grenade and saved his blood.
I was amazed that that's in the film.
To me, it seems so amateur.
It's like a poorly made documentary, like
yeah.
Baby's first documentary. I don't know. It's like pop up, text in the bottom corner, usually white text.
Yeah.
Overlaid on a black and white picture too.
It doesn't work in my opinion. It was so like distracting the entire time. And then the movie constantly switches aspect ratios. So, like, sometimes they'll be walking around and it's, like, traditional letterboxed. And then, they'll be, like, it'll switch to, like, full screen ratio where it's, like, really crisp 4K image when they're, like, walking around in the jungles. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, just unnecessary.
The only time the aspect ratio change was fine, in my opinion, was when it was cutting back to the war sequences and it had black bars on the side. That makes sense. But those war sequences, I'm going to talk about those for a second. They were awful, in my opinion. There was like a complete lack of direction. It was just guys running around spraying their guns without any real like sense of direction going on.
Terrible ADR.
Awful ADR.
Only Chadwick was mic'd, is that what we decided?
Yeah, like
and nobody else
like
was mic'd?
Nobody else was mic'd, it seemed like. Terrible CGI.
Oh,
the
man.
blood spurts were so bad. The helicopter flying over looked like a PS2 graphic. Like,
I mean, the blood spurts. There's this like
CG.
There's this really emotional moment where a main character
blows up on a landmine,
and he's shaking there, and there's these CGI blood spurts and like this terrible bone hanging out.
It might have been like real blood spurts, but I feel like it was just.
Oh well, we paused at one point. We could see like the.
Well, yeah, it didn't look too good.
You could see some parts of CG.
It's just like.
It's really embarrassing.
The part where the guy blows up, to me, I couldn't take it seriously because all I could think of was what do you call it? Tropic Thunder. When Ben Stiller gets blown up. I just couldn't take half of this movie seriously, and like I said,
Well, even it's just framed as a comedy shot too, like it's
like,
it's just a wide and
he's
flat
just,
image,
and he's like
sitting
there, and his arms are spraying blood. I was just like, oh, this is. And then I haven't even got to like the forced villain towards the end. They have like this French guy.
Oh, the Make America Great Again.
Who has a mega hat, and I was just like, okay, a little bit on the nose here. I don't know. It didn't work for me. They tried to have some emotional stuff with the characters that again just didn't work. Like some interactions. For example, there's this one guy who finds out that he had a daughter that he didn't know about, and that didn't work for me. It was too like forced. So I don't know. A lot of those elements just thought were poorly executed, and it was not a good movie. So
yes,
I really did not like Da 5 Bloods. I think it was a very bad film that had a good premise that they just did not execute.
And it's got Spike Lee attached. If it didn't have Spike Lee attached, would it have the same snub?
Probably not. I mean. Yeah. I didn't like it.
That was Da 5 Bloods. Now go watch
it. Then we have red on black text in the credits, which looks so bad.
It's so hard to read.
I just don't like. I don't know. For what it is for me is it's like I said with Black Klansman, I liked the premise. I liked the acting and whatnot. With this movie, I just don't like this director's style personally. Mm-hmm. So you have the style I don't like, which feels even worse than normal. With a movie that just does a bad job of executing its premise, that has terrible visual effects, a lack of chemistry for its actors. There'll be sequences where they're just walking around in Vietnam, and something about it felt so fake. Like, it's just them walk. I don't know how to explain it. I did not like the movie. It's like a 3 out of 10 for me, probably.
Oh, and they used the older actors instead of getting younger actors. Did you like that? Or?
I'm okay with the decision.
Okay.
They said that it was a creative decision, and then I think another person that worked on the movie said they just didn't have the budget.
that's what it seems like.
I was like, okay. But it wasn't something that bothered me either way. I was like, yeah, fine. So yeah, just didn't like it. Anyways, I wanted to get to. I was really hoping the movie was going to be nominated for Best Picture so I could bash on it, but it wasn't, and so I still had to bring it up somehow. Anyways, that's the snub category done with. Now we're just going to go over every category.
Okay.
So we have these all listed out in order of not necessarily like least important to most important, but just kind of like there's some we want to just get out of the way. So international feature film category that I normally don't care too much about because I just don't watch most of these films. This year the nominees are Another Round, Better Days, Collective, The Man Who Sold His Skin, and Quo Vadis Ada. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Cool.
Interesting.
Got it.
Anyways, my prediction here is Another Round because it is the only one of these films to be nominated for Best Director or be nominated for any other category. So I think Another Round is kind of like the shoe-in win if I had to make a guess. Would you agree with that?
I haven't seen any of them, so I will blindly agree.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched any of them either, but I just kind of feel like because it's nominated for those.
Yeah.
Next up, Animated Feature Film. So the nominees this year are Onward, Over the Moon, A Shaun the Sheep Movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. Now, I've only seen 2 of these, Onward and Soul. I liked both of them a lot. I had more of an emotional attachment to Onward, I would say, but I think Soul was just the better crafted film. I'll let you give your prediction first.
Well, I have not seen any of these either. I have not, I was told to watch Soul. Maybe I'll watch that at some point, but the other ones I didn't really hear anything about.
So that's your prediction, Soul?
That's my prediction, Soul.
That's my prediction as well, and that's what I think is going to win. All right, now on to the next category, we have visual effects. Now this is actually one of the categories I typically always care about because I'm just somebody who loves visual effects. And the nominees this year are super uninteresting. We have Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Yvonne, and Tenet. So Love and Monsters have not seen. I've seen a few of the visual effects. They look pretty good. The monsters look pretty cool. But don't think it's going to win. Midnight Sky, it's like some George Clooney space movie. It's a Netflix film.
I heard that one was terribly boring.
I heard it was really boring as well. The visual effects, they looked like they would not be nominated otherwise.
Generic space.
Just, yeah, like it looked like there's this one TV show that they have on Netflix, which is Lost in Space, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to God, they just copied over the same images. Mulan, are you fucking kidding me? That movie did not have good visual effects. That movie had really bad visual effects. One and Only Yvonne, are you fucking kidding me? That movie...
I'm outraged. I haven't seen it. I'm outraged.
One and Only Yvonne looks like Golden Compass from 2007. Like, the animal CGI is like... It's just... Okay, it's not terrible, but I was looking at clips and I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Is it like a Jungle Book thing?
Well, the movie starts off saying based on a true story, and then the first scene is a man talking to gorillas, and they speak English as well.
Oh, so it's like a... Yeah, it's like Tarzan Jungle Book
like,
sort of premise.
Bryan Cranston is in it, and it's like a zoo, I think, and there's animals.
Oh,
they don't look bad, but it's like, it was a Disney Plus only movie, so it was kind of like it wasn't like Mulan where it was made for theaters and they put it on Disney Plus. This one was made purely for Disney Plus, and so I think the budget was a tad bit lower, and it's nominated because there was just nothing else this year. And then the last nominee is Tenet. Okay, do I need to say, like, it's gonna win visual effects? I think it's a shoo-in win, because especially in the last couple of years, the Oscars seem to be going for practical effects a lot of the time. Like, if you look at 2019, the winner was First Man, which everybody was like, it should have been Avengers Infinity War, when Infinity War has some pretty bad CGI moments, like the... I'll point them out in the video later, but
wouldn't it be great if Infinity War won though, and they brought every CG artist on stage?
It's just like 4,800 people.
That would be amazing.
But no, yeah, I think Tenet's gonna win just because, again, it's the Oscars seem to like practical the last couple of years. Like 1917 won last year, and that wasn't a movie that really like screamed visual effects to me per se. And yeah, I think Tenet's gonna win because it has phenomenal visual effects. Not too much CGI. They just do a lot of stuff practically, like, you know, the plane scene, crashing it into the airport, etc., etc. The reversing of stuff, like, it all looks so cool. So I think Tenet's the shoo-in win, and I am fully for that because I love the film, and I thought it had excellent visual effects. So what do you think?
Yes. Tenet is the only one I've seen as a common theme, and I think the visual effects are amazing in Tenet, so I would give it to that all day long.
All right, next up we have film editing. I don't care what wins, to be honest. It's just a category that in the past has just been really weird, like when Bohemian Rhapsody won for
just having like the most cuts.
Yeah,
not like, good cuts, just the most.
It had a cut rate of 40 cuts per minute or less. No, less probably. less time. The same number, 40 cuts per 30 seconds probably.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I'm just making it up, but it was terrible.
Well, I'd believe it.
Yeah. Last year was Ford versus Ferrari, which I was actually cool with because that movie did have a lot of cuts during the race sequences, but I don't know. I thought it was all engaging. This year the nominees are The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Charlie Chuck 07. Honestly, none of these really stand out to me for editing besides maybe Sound of Metal, which is what I predicted. That's what I sketched in here. The Father, like, okay, here's the thing. These movies are all well edited for the most part besides maybe Promising Young Woman, which had some, like, jumpy stuff, but they didn't stand out to me particularly.
Yeah, there's no clear winner.
But I predicted Sound of Metal just because I felt like, you know, the way it was paced and the way it was put together was well done. What did you sketch?
Yeah, Sound of Metal is entirely possible. I put Trial of Chicago 7 because that screenplay is so snappy. It's like characters always after each other, and that only works with the editing.
The movie did use some slow motion at times as well during the riot scenes.
Slow motion. Oh, well, now you got it.
But yeah, excuse me. I could see Trial winning as well, honestly. All right, next up is costume design. So the nominees are Emma, which I have not seen, but I've seen trailers for it and stuff. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio. Okay, so Emma, a lot of times it does go to, like, you know, very old historical British films, but I'm going to say nope. Mank, I'm going to say definitely a possibility because, you know, they love
old Hollywood.
They love old Hollywood, and that movie has old Hollywood stuff in it. Mulan actually does have good costume design. Like, that's an example of a costume design one where it's like, well, I didn't like the movie. I am fine with that being nominated for costume design because, you know, it's more...
Someone did their work in some department. Just the movie wasn't necessarily good.
It's more interesting outfits. So I'm cool with Mulan being nominated. I still think that somewhere on that list, maybe Birds of Prey could have been put in. Pinocchio, I really haven't seen too much of to say anything about that. But my prediction for this one is... Well, let's hear your prediction first.
Okay. The only one I've seen is Mank. And I think Mank has excellent costumes. I recall there's like some scene at the end.
There's like probably a ball scene or something like that.
There's lots of those ball scenes, but there's one where he like rants around the table, and I think it's a costume party, And
Okay,
I remember
okay.
Amanda Seyfried has this great costume on. Everyone's got great costumes. I mean, I feel like Mank's a shoe-in for that. I haven't seen the rest, though.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I put Mank as a question mark for kind of like my secondary pick. I'm guessing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, because another period piece that has some very extravagant outfits. Lots of guys in suits, but then some women in some really extravagant outfits, and I think both of those are probably the top two contenders. Yeah. All right, then we have makeup and hairstyling, which kind of connects right to the previous category. I'm predicting Ma Rainey's Black Bottom again, especially if you look at Viola Davis. Really great makeup on her. I don't see Mank getting makeup and hairstyling personally. I do see it getting costumes on. I don't think it's going to get makeup. Pinocchio is a possibility because I've seen the way Pinocchio looks in that movie, and it's terrifying. Emma... And, you know, it's the same thing as always. It's like Phantom Thread won a couple years ago. Like, a lot of these movies, it's just like these old films that I could care less. Hillbilly Elegy, though, Glenn Close did look quite old, which she does normally, but they did even more oldness to her. Everybody in that movie looks like a hillbilly. Like, Amy Adams, normally a very, you know, nice-looking woman, they made her look like a hillbilly. Same thing with Glenn Close, so...
Okay.
Maybe it's a possibility. We'll see. I put that as a question mark, as in, like, second place, I think that's a possibility. What about you, Parker?
I've only seen Mank. And I don't think Mank really has much of a chance. I don't remember any makeup. Hairstyling's period accurate, but it's not stand-up. Most guys just have, like, the buzzed on the sides, comb over on the top. And Mank, or... Oldman didn't get any prosthetics, so the Academy loves prosthetics.
But there was really... Yeah, that's true, because normally it's like, a lot of the time it's like, you think about these movies that have lots of, like, you know, making him look fat or making him look skinny.
Mm-hmm, yeah, they really like that.
But I don't really think any of these really had that going on for them.
Well,
so maybe Pinocchio, because Pinocchio did have... I have no fucking idea. Okay, next up...
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, next up we have sound. Greyhound. Okay, I watched Greyhound at home with Atmos and everything, so you know there was lots of like. It sounded good.
It's Tom Hanks in like a
That's
World
the
War
Tom
II
Hanks in the
ship,
World War II. Yeah, it's a movie that I thought looked really, going into it, and it was all right. Mank, I thought it had great sound, because it sounded like a authentic 30s movie.
It did, yeah.
And I thought they did a great job with that. News of the World. I genuinely do not remember the sound from that movie. Soul actually had really good sound as well. That being said, I think Sound of Metal is the winner here. Because, like I said, they did a great job at putting you in that character's, what do you want to call it? Like shoes? Yeah, they did a great job there. So I think that's the winner this year for the sound category. What about you?
Yeah, I think Sound of Metal is a shoo-in to win. I mean...
Has the category in its title.
I mean, Sound of Metal, come on. But yeah, the movie doesn't work if you don't get his perspective.
Yeah.
But I would like to say, like, Mank is great. I think I watched some making of thing on Netflix where they did the audio on tape and then they ran it through again to make it sound even shittier. And yeah, they've got like the 30s aesthetic captured so well.
Yeah, like I know. I don't think Mank's gonna win, but I do think that it deserves some recognition for how good it was. All right. Okay, I'm gonna cut the camera. We're back. Hope you enjoyed the message from our sponsor. All right, so we left off talking about sound, and now we're going to be moving on to original score. So the nominees are The Five Bloods.
He who shall not be named.
Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. So, fuck. Sorry. So, in the case of The Five Bloods, I remember one theme, which was people chanting Black Lives Matter.
Oh no.
No, I don't honestly remember any of the music from this movie besides like maybe one scene where there's a helicopter landing.
I've only seen the scenes that you showed me, and I do not recall a score.
Yeah. Mank, 30s music is well executed.
It's the tone.
Minari. News of the World.
Fuck to find out. I didn't see it.
And then Soul, which Soul stood out the most to me out of these nominees. That being said, Tenet should have been nominated and should have won. Anyways, my prediction is Soul because it has a great score. You know, it's very jazzy. It's won at a lot of the other award shows. I think it's kind of the shoo-in out of these. Mm-hmm. Now tell us what because I don't know if you might have selected something else, didn't you?
Well, I never saw Soul.
Yeah, fair. So
the whole movie's based around music, though, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, there you go. It's like Sound of Metal getting sound. It's like the Academy is very on the nose.
Yeah.
But okay, so Soul will probably get it. For me, it was either Mank or Minari. Those are the only two I've seen. I cannot remember anything from the Minari score.
Piano.
So Mank it is. It seems like I'm the world's biggest Mank fan because they're the only one I've seen in most of these categories.
So essentially, I wonder how many times you voted for Mank.
I've got a lot of Manks.
All right, then we move on to category 9, which is production design. Production design. So the sets.
Take a guess.
And yada yada. Okay, so the nominees are The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. Okay, so I'll start off with The Father. The movie is a apartment.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really ever feel like, I was wowed by the production design.
No, it's
just a really large apartment for the most part. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, good production design, but I kind of felt like I was just watching them recording on a Hollywood backlot the entire time. Mank, exact same feelings. It felt like it was on a Hollywood backlot because it was intentional, because it was in a Hollywood backlot. News of the World, it's kind of weird when when a movie that's set outside in the desert for the majority of the film is nominated for
is that what it is?
Production design. Yeah, so it's kind of there is some old 1800s buildings they explore, but again,
they didn't really make those.
Well, they're wooden shacks. They probably did.
Oh, they built those? Oh, okay. Wow.
But I don't know. And then Tenet, which I love Tenet. I never really thought about it being nominated for this category. It was just not something that when I was like, oh, Tenet should be nominated. I'd never thought about this category as one of them. But when I think about it now, the final act actually had some great production design with those buildings and the mountain area. That stuff was great. So I could see Tenet. Well, okay. Here's the thing. I think Mank's gonna win. Because they love old Hollywood. This movie executed its set designs very well. You have an old movie ranch. You have all this stuff. So I think Mank's going to win.
You got the MGM office, and you got the other office.
The Oscar's just sitting there I love it.
Got Mank out at some cabin.
Yeah, so I think Mank's going to win. And
yeah, you already know.
Mank. Oh, wait, you wrote down Mank? Guys, this is a shocking surprise here today.
Well, Mank or Tenet, and...
yeah,
Mank's got it.
Mank's, yeah, exactly. All right, next up, cinematography.
Oh!
We have Judas and the Black Messiah.
God, people are going to start clicking off this video when they hear mine.
We have Mank. We have... Fuck, it's we're going to get to animated feature and you're going to be like, oh, Mank wins. That's essentially how you are today.
I'm like an AI. I just sit here and say Mank.
Mank. Mank. I did not see anything. I did not see anything else. The movie was well made. Mank.
You got it.
Okay, News of the World, which was pretty well shot. Nomadland and Trial of the Chicago 7. What? Trial being nominated was kind of a shocking surprise to me.
Trial is completely unoriginal in its cinematography.
I mean, there were some cool people running away screaming, and there's ooh, look at this tilted angle to show off the
oh, I do,
and slow motion.
Yeah, I've got to say I do like the riot scene.
Yeah, the riot scene was well shot.
Riot scene is great.
That was a well put together scene.
A big wall of people walk up to the cops, and they all.
Yeah.
And then there's a big confrontation.
So yeah, there was still some good stuff in here, but I just mean overall, it felt like a more plainly... It felt like a Netflix movie, which it is.
Yeah, the focus is the characters, the dialogue. It's not the cinematography just serves that.
Yeah, the craftsmanship otherwise is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
So that's why I was really shocked that Tenet didn't get put over that. But I'm gonna say my prediction is Nomadland because lots of long takes and just nature and beautiful, nice color schemes. The background's got nice blue and orangey pastel colors. Anyways, let's hear why you voted for Mank.
Mank. What can I say? Mank. Hey, Hollywood. Mank. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen the other one. Mank.
You've seen Nomadland.
Oh, I've seen Nomadland.
And you've seen Judas.
Okay, I do think Nomadland is going to win, but I do think Mank is better in that it recreates a 30s movie. What do you want me to say?
Why do you say a musical? You're 30s movie.
Yeah. It is what it is. Mank is technically great.
All right. Okay. That was number 10. Okay, moving on to number 11. Oh, adapted screenplay. Now we get into the dialogue. We have Borat subsequent. I like how they just titled it Borat subsequent movie film on the sheet because the full title is
yeah, it would be like
8,
another row.
It'd be like a whole row of this page right here. Okay, so Borat's nominated. The Father is nominated. Nomadland is nominated. One Night in Miami is nominated, and The White Tiger was nominated. Now let me guess, your prediction's Mank.
It's Mank. I love it.
Okay, obviously Mank's not nominated for this category. Okay, so Borat subsequent movie film. You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. I like the original Borat.
It's kind of a weird one to be nominated for screenplay when a lot of this stuff is in the moment.
Yeah, it's just
right. Same with acting. It's like nominating
it's like hidden
a play.
camera stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like nominating a play because one of the actresses was nominated for supporting role for this, and it's like I said, it's like a play almost because it's like they're doing this on the spot.
What's it adapted from, by the way? Like, why does it fit in this category?
I have no idea.
Because isn't it just a sequel? Like,
yeah, I don't know what it's adapted from. Maybe. Fuck, who knows? I don't know.
Someone wrote a book about Borat 2, and then they just give us that.
So yeah, I don't know why it's adapted as well. Maybe because somebody wrote it, and then they adapt. I don't know. Okay, so that's Borat subsequent movie film. I do not think it's gonna win. The Father, very well written. I think the lines that were said the most were "Where's my fucking watch?" and "Where's the chicken?" and "What's for dinner?" Is it chicken?
Chicken?
I think those are the two most repeated lines. So, if you like watches and you like chicken, then Father might be your pick. Mm-hmm. Nomadland, very well written. Again, it's an interesting one because I don't know how much of it was actually written, like, on a page saying this is what this character says because it's real people. So did they just sit around and just tell their stories?
I don't know. I saw in the credits it was based off a book and...
It was based off a book.
by someone who is a nomad.
But they got the real people. So that's why it's like... I wonder how they went about that. Yeah, I guess because if the story was adapted from Nomadland, from the book, then that's why it would count. Because the screenplay isn't necessarily just the dialogue; it's also just like, the story and how it unfolds and whatnot. So yeah, Nomadland, really great screenplay in my opinion. I have not seen the other two nominees, so I can't speak for those. So out of the nominees that I have seen, I think Nomadland is gonna win. I could see The Father taking it as well, though, but I'm gonna guess Nomadland. What about you, Parker?
I have Nomadland down. I think it's really tightly, loosely structured, I guess, but it doesn't feel like any time's wasted. She's going here, she's going there, and yeah, it all works.
It works. Can I say? All right, then we have original screenplay. So the fresh out of the typewriter. If you're Mank, and all the other cases of this movie, they're written on a computer most likely. So we have Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
I am a revolutionary would be the line that I would say was said the most in that movie.
Lots of right on and you dig.
Yeah.
You dig? Right on, right on.
Then we have Minari. I don't know what's most said in that movie. Mountain Dew, probably.
Well, she keeps calling the kids you bastards when they're playing cards.
Yeah, that's great.
You bastard.
That's great. Promising Young Woman.
For
screenplay. Okay. Sound of Metal. I would agree. Well signed. I don't know. Yeah, well written, yeah. And then Trial of the Chicago 7, which is by far the one that screams to me the most. But not Mank. Haha.
Well, I wouldn't have voted for Mank. I'm a trialer.
Okay. Well, yeah, you got that Aaron Sorkin dialogue, so it's got to be that movie that wins. But yeah, no, Trial of the Chicago 7. A great script. I didn't realize that we recorded this in 4K24. I would have normally done this in... Oh, this is going to be a bitch to edit because it's an MOV. I should have switched to MP4 beforehand.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well.
We got to edit this speed, too.
Oh, God.
Do tomorrow.
Trial of the Chicago 7. It's going to be a... Oh, no. Oh, well. Trial of the... Time to re-record. No, it's not. Trial of the Chicago 7. Yeah, that's my pick. You said that was your pick as well?
Yeah, that's the pick. Every line is bang, bang, bang.
I agree.
Bouncing between characters all the time.
I've seen a lot of people predict Promising Young Woman, though. I've seen that a lot online for original screenplay. Yeah. So, Parker,
Why exactly?
I don't know.
Well, if that wins, then that confirms what I think about the Oscars.
All right, next up, actor in a supporting role. Or no, sorry. Yeah, actor in a supporting role. Okay, so the nominees are Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of Chicago 7.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked him in that. Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah. Really liked him in that. Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami. Have not seen that. Paul Arachi for Sound of Metal. Really liked him in that.
Is he like the main guy at the...
Long hair. The longer-haired guy that is the one that owns the place. And then Lakeith Stanfield for being bored in Judas and the Black Messiah. So that was kind of a surprise nominee out of these ones was Lakeith. He was fine, I guess. I didn't really like...
Yeah.
Like, he was good. I just didn't really get anything from his character, personally. I didn't really...
Yeah, I think he's a great actor, but yeah, his character, it doesn't stand out like any of these other characters on the list.
So yeah, that one was kind of a surprise to me. I really liked Paul Raci in Sound of Metal. Like, he was one of my personal favorites out of these nominees. Sacha Baron Cohen was great in Trial of the Chicago 7. Daniel Kaluuya was great in Judas and the Black Messiah. Anyways, my prediction is Daniel Kaluuya. He has won everywhere else, so I think he's kind of the shoo-in. What did you predict?
I also predicted Daniel Kaluuya in Judas and the Black Messiah. I watched this morning, and all the scenes with him in it just have so much energy.
He honestly should have been the main character, in my opinion.
Well, it works with him on the side.
I guess, yeah.
But I also want to say, Sacha Baron Cohen, everything with him was also like the best parts of that movie, as far as I'm concerned. Like when he goes up to the stand by himself, I love that. When they're like interviewing him on TV, it's great. And he's walking around in like his pajamas during the riot. Everything with him, and like it's all told through him at the comedy club. Like a lot of the stuff Yeah, he really drives it.
I really liked him in that movie, so yeah. Alright, then we have actress in a supporting role. So we have Maria Bakalova for Borat subsequent movie film, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. She's also nominated for that exact same role at the Razzies. Which
controversy.
Is interesting.
Or divisive.
Well, I don't know. And then we have Olivia Colman for The Father. And then we have Gary Oldman for Mank. I am reading the wrong... I looked up one higher. And
Gary Oldman, actress in a supporting role. I wouldn't have taken him for that.
I looked up for a second, I looked back down, and I looked at actor.
Oh,
so I was like, Gary Oldman is going to win for me. Sorry. Where did I leave off? I was,
I think you just said
Glenn
Close.
Sorry. Amanda Coleman.
Olivia. Do you want me to take over this one?
Amanda Seyfried.
Okay, Amanda Seyfried in Mank and Young Jung-yeon in Minari. What do you think, Dawson?
I think I'm out of it. Okay, sorry. Okay, Maria Bakalova. I mean, like, she was good in that movie. She was one of the highlights, but it's just kind of a weird... I don't know. I just don't really understand why that movie was nominated, to be completely honest, for anything. Because, again, it's not a movie where it's like... It's just her staying in character and just rolling with the flow of things. So I guess it's good in that sense, but it's just kind of a weird thing, in my opinion. Just like the writing for that film. Glenn Close and Hillbilly Elegy. Have not seen it. I've heard she's good in it, but I've also heard some people say she's like really weird. So that's why I think
that's why she got the Razzie.
The Razzie. I'm really hoping she wins both. I think that would be absolutely hilarious.
Excellent.
Olivia Colman in The Father. I thought she was really good as well. I didn't quite like her as much as I did when she played Queen, whatever her name was in
Favorite.
In The Favorite.
I haven't seen it, but
I think that was more of a highlight role for her. I thought in this, like, she was good, but I wasn't as like blown away or anything. Amanda Seyfried and Mank, who was every scene she was in, she was great in my opinion.
Totally.
And then Young Jun, or how do you say that? In Minari, she has won in a lot of other award shows, and then she's my personal pick. I think she is going to win. I think she was fantastic in that movie. She was hilarious. Stole every scene she was in. You bastards! So she's my pick.
Yes.
In my prediction.
Olivia Colman, I thought she was great in The Father, but mostly she was just trying to control the loose cannon that was Anthony Hopkins.
That was Anthony Hopkins.
So it's mostly just her trying to like.
Hey, at least she had to contain a dementia version of Anthony Hopkins. Whoever has to contain the current real life version of Anthony Hopkins is gonna have a tougher job.
Death metal Hopkins. And okay, so I don't think she's gonna win because it wasn't really a standout when you compare it to old Anthony.
Yeah.
But then Amanda Seyfried, she's like in all the emotional scenes. She's the highlight every time she's on screen. You can see her in the room. You can pick her out right away. But I don't think she's gonna win. I haven't kept up with any of the award shows, but I do think that Young Jung-yeon is the standout of all these people. And yeah, once she shows up in Minari, it just takes off.
Yeah, she's great. Sorry, I was just thinking about Gary Oldman and Mank as an actress in a supporting role.
Gary Oldman.
I almost hope that's how it goes to the award show, and the award goes to Gary Oldman for Mank. It's like, what?
Maybe if Hopkins is reading the awards, he'll screw it up.
All right, then we have actor in a leading role. We have Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank. That's weird, he's in both categories. And then Steven Yeun for Minari. Okay, so all of these great performances. I think least likely is Steven Yeun for Minari.
I can agree, that's the least standout in my opinion.
He was really good in this, but I just, again, it was more of a contained performance for the most part. There's a few scenes where he's yelling, but I thought it was more of a contained performance, and a lot of times I think the Oscars like to go for the big, loud, like, fuck you! I'm going crazy kind of thing.
Also, like all these other guys, like we're with them the whole movie pretty much, like Riz Ahmed, Anthony and Gary Oldman, and Steven Yeun, he's part of the family, but...
I'd still say he's the main character, but he kind of feels like, because the movie does spend time focusing on other...
Yeah, it spends a lot of time with the grandma and the kids and the wife, and
Yeah, so I feel like I agree with that completely. So he's my least pick. Then I'd probably say Gary Oldman is the next least likely. As much as I love him as an actor, he's in my top 5 favorites of all time, and I thought he was great in the movie. He did win a couple years ago for Darkest Hour.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Oscars.
I think he's got 1 or 2.
Oh.
But he's been nominated quite a bit. So
okay.
I just don't see him winning again so soon, especially for a performance that, well, I thought was great. It kind of just blends in as, like, just him.
Yeah.
I guess I would say. All right, and then my next one would probably be Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal. He definitely proved me wrong here. I think he's a great actor after watching this. And I could see him winning. I don't really see him winning just because I think it's going to be Chadwick Boseman who takes the cake. That being said, I mean, I think Anthony Hopkins and Chadwick are, like, for me personally, tied neck and neck for, like, which performance I enjoyed the most. I thought both of them were phenomenal. Chadwick's is more, throughout the entire film, kind of more prevalent as far as, like, how, like, energetic he is and whatnot, whereas Anthony Hopkins is much more contained for a lot of the movie. Like, some of his great acting is just him going into a room and kind of, like, you just see the confusion in his eyes, but then he tries to act like he knows what's going on when in reality he's confused. But where his performance really hits you hard is at the very end there, when he's in the old folks' home crying. Like, that was great. So, both phenomenal performances. I've seen a lot of people giving Anthony Hopkins a lot of love. He won at the BAFTAs.
Oh,
but BAFTAs is also British, and...
They like old Anthony.
They like old fucks like Anthony, so I think that was kind of why that won. I think Chadwick's gonna win though. I think he gave a great performance. I don't think he's like, I think he gave a great performance. I think like I said, I think they're kind of neck and neck performance wise. I think Chadwick's death will give him like just the slight edge. I'm not saying that's the only reason he's winning. I'm not saying it's an undeserved win. It's just because he died. I think again neck and neck. I do think his death is just gonna give him the slight, more favorable vote. If Chadwick Boseman alive. And it was Anthony Hopkins who was dead.
And the Oscar goes to Anthony Hopkins.
But yeah, so what about you, Parker?
I haven't seen Ma Rainey. I know Chadwick's supposed to be great in it, but as far as I'm concerned in these ones, Anthony Hopkins is the standout. The whole movie is just watching him, and you never know where he's gonna go. Like he's talking to this one nurse that comes over, and he's being all friendly, and then he snaps, and then all these scenes, you just never know when he's gonna...
And then he eats her randomly.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty strange.
Yeah, it's kind of a Hannibal Lecter-esque thing.
But, well, anyway, after he eats her, then he keeps going on more.
And he says, where's the chicken?
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, Hopkins, well, if Chadwick wasn't here, I think he'd be a shoo-in, but could go either way.
Yeah. All right, then we have actress in a leading role. We have Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andrew Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. So I wrote notes for each of these.
Oh.
Viola Davis I put more loud, because she's the most, like, extravagant out of all these.
Lord!
I put Andrew Day, I put Renee Zellweger, because last year... Renee Zellweger, it was like a movie where like I hadn't even heard about the film. I don't even remember what it was called. But then Renee Zellweger, whatever her name is, she won. She won a lot of other shows, but I heard it was an okay movie that I guess had a great performance, and that's kind of how I feel about Andrew Day in this movie. Was that I haven't seen it, but it's a film I've heard very mixed things about. Doesn't have very good reviews. but she won at the Golden Globes or at one of those award shows. And that's the thing this year. It's confusing is that it's been all over the place because Viola Davis won at some of the award shows. Andra Day won at one. Frances McDormand won at one. So I think it's between those three. Vanessa Kirby, I put who, and then just because I know who she is, but I just I've heard no buzz around that. And then Carey Mulligan, I put she was good in the movie. She was like one of the highlights, but I just don't think she stands a chance against the other three. So yeah, it's really tough to judge this year who's going to win leading actress. I think actor and all the other acting categories are much more obvious. I think this is the tough acting category this year. I think my personal favorite, Frances McDormand was a very contained performance. Very, I don't know if spiritual is the right word to use, but
spiritual works.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's like scenes of like her, like, you know, just looking off into the distance. You know, even though she doesn't have much of a facial expression, you know what emotion she's feeling.
Soulful.
Soulful, that's the word. Yeah, it's her floating naked in water and
paranoid.
Paranoid. Yeah, from well, you guys won't understand that reference, but you know, it was all stuff that I just thought it was very it was a very nice contained performance. That being said, the Oscars love their like, you know, their arguments and their anger and their emotions, and I think that Viola Davis nails all that in Ma Rainey. She was a great actress in that film. Fantastic performance. So I think Viola Davis is my personal prediction, my personal pick. I don't really have any between Viola Davis and Frances, but what about you?
Yeah, I'd say I haven't even heard of United States versus Billie Holiday and Pieces of a Woman. I don't think they appear anywhere else on here.
Nope.
Yeah, so maybe it goes to one of those two, but I'd say Frances McDormand. Yeah, I loved her performance in Nomadland. Soulful, spiritual. Yeah, she
different
carries
performance compared to her in Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, where she's much more of the loud and you know, kind of performance. It's like this is a polar opposite performance for her.
Okay,
well, but you haven't seen the movie, have you?
She's got some range. No, I haven't seen it.
It's great. You should watch it. All right, next up, last two categories. Director is first. So the nominees are Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. All right, so have not seen Another Round, so I can't speak for that. I've seen Mank, not gonna win Best Director. I'll just say that right off the bat.
Fincher's he's not like a breakout star.
He's never won Best Director before, I don't think.
Oh, he hasn't?
He has not.
Not for Social Network? I thought that got a bunch of Oscars.
I don't think so. I think 2010 was... Well, maybe he won. I don't know. I don't think he's won those. Maybe he did. I don't think he has. But if he is, it's not going to be for Mank. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a case where it's like, oh, we haven't given it to him in the past, but he deserves it. This is not that movie. Yeah. Lee Isaac Chung from Minari. Good. Not going to happen though. Emerald Fennell. I don't think so. I would probably drop out of the Oscars at that point. My guess is Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. She's won everywhere else, it seems, and I think she did a great job with that movie. Like I said, I thought it was so well put together. And so she's my pick and my prediction. Parker.
Yeah, I agree. Chloe Zhao, she made it feel so real.
You didn't go for Mank on this?
No, I don't think. I love Fincher's like attention to detail and all that, but I don't think it's the best directed. Nomadland takes it.
All right. And then we have Best Picture.
Now's the time to start eating in our final category.
Well, okay. You guys know our thoughts on all these movies. I already said Nomadland at the very start because, like I said, this is we just had a depressing year. COVID hit everybody very hard.
Using your commercial voice.
Yeah.
COVID hit everyone very hard.
Families were torn apart, separated. Many people lost many loved ones. And a movie like Nomadland, about people in a hard, trying times, coming together through connection in times of dark and in times of need. It's gonna be Nomadland. I mean, I don't know.
Trying to sell me a car.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, all the other movies were really good. But like The Father, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Father is just too depressing to win because of the year that we just had. Judas and the Black Messiah, nah. Mank, I mean, unless they're gonna be like full on like we love Hollywood,
they would be out of their goddamn mind to give it to Mank. So many people hate Mank. The Oscars would be burned.
Minari, I feel like Hollywood's probably thinking we can't give it to two foreign language films. Well, it's not even foreign language; it's like half and half. But
because of Parasite last year.
Yeah, they'd be like, we can't do that.
Okay, that's a little too much.
Yeah, so that's what they'd be thinking of themselves.
Let's get some Manks in here, balance the scales.
Which, like, if Nomadland won, I'd be cool, or if Minari won, I'd be cool with that because I really liked it. Nomadland, again, I just explained why I think it's gonna win. Promising Young Woman, okay, and then Sound of Metal. Great movie. Don't think it's gonna win. Charles Chicago 7. Great movie. I would be fine with it winning. Don't think it will. I think Nomadland. I think it should win. That's my pick. What about you?
I think Nomadland is going to win, but the one I would like to win is The Father.
Okay. That was not what I was expecting here. I thought you were gonna say the one I want to win is Mank.
Well, I've dropped my AI personality after category 10. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Father. That was like the most emotional one, and it hit hardest. Nomadland's great. Trial of the Chicago 7 is the most fun. I never have any intention to watch Sound of Metal, Promising Young Woman. Those are the only two I don't want to watch again, but the rest of them I might watch.
Alright, so there you have it. We both predict Nomadland, except I want Nomad to win. Well, here's the thing. I'm okay with Nomad winning. I'm okay with Trial winning. I'm okay with Father winning. Those are the three that I would say I think are the most deserving of that category. So yeah, guys, we'll see where the Oscars go. It's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. We're not watching it together. We're watching it separately. We might text each other afterwards just to see, like, who got the more numbers. Because there's a little score thing in the bottom right corner, so we can dial up how many we got correct. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. And,
it's a long one.
It's a long one.